Hello everyone, in this tutorial I will show you how to create this leaning mechanic, as you can see on the screen. So you can both lean right and also left, as you can see. And as you can see, it isn't really a linear path that the head follows, so it looks more realistic. So it isn't just a straight line that the head will go when you lean. It actually tilts and then tilts again to make it look more realistic. So yeah, let's start. So what I'm gonna do first is to go into the first person folder, blueprints, and then into the BP first person character. In here we want to go into the event graph, and then you want to find the empty spot. So right here is perfect. And right now we want to go into the edit, project settings, scroll down to input, and in here we want to add a action mapping, so 2, so 1 and 2. So now we have two different action mappings, and we can call them lean right and also lean left. And the lean right key will of course be Q, and the lean left key will be E. So right there. So now we're done here. If you also use controller in your game, you can just add a controller input as well if you want it. But let's close out of here, go into the event graph again, and now we want to call our actions that we just made. So right click, search for lean right, and also lean left, just like that. So what I'm doing now is to add a variable, so click on this plus icon right here, and we're to call it float, and make sure to change the boolean to a float. Then we can just drag that out, so get float and duplicate it, and then we want to drag out of the float and equal, and duplicate that, just like that. So now the float is equal, and then out of the equal we want to get a branch, and the pressed will go into the branch like that. And also the same for the lean left. So let's just duplicate this branch, move it down, pressed into the branch, and the condition into the equal. And then after that we want to add a timeline, so let's search for add timeline, and I want to call this lean right, and we will do another one for the lean left as well, but let's just focus on the lean right for now. And then the true will go into the play of the timeline, and then the input action lean right released will go into the reverse. So when we press the button, it will check if we are in the default camera position, and then it will play the timeline, and then if we release it, it will reverse the timeline. So release, then it reverse. So then we want to go into the timeline, we want to create a new track, we want to create a float track, and we want to call it alpha. Then we want to change the length to about 1.5, and the length is how long it will take to reach the lean position. So if you want to lean fast to the right or to the left, you want this number to be lower, but I think 1.5 seconds to lean is great because it's kind of slow and is very realistic. So what we want to do is to add a key, so hold down shift and left click, and as you can see we have added a key, and the time will be set to 0, and the value will be set to 0 as well. Then we want to add another key, and the time will be 1.5, so it is at the end of our timeline, and the value will be 1. Now we can just click on these two to see the whole graph. And then we can right click on one of these keys and then click on auto. And as you can see, it will create this very smooth line. And if we add another key right here in the middle, so as you can see, I added another key, and the time can be set to a little bit lower than the half of our length of the timeline. So let's say about 0.5, 0.6 maybe, yeah. And then you can just click on here and drag these however much you want. And I want this curve to go a little bit above the value, so let's just drag that a little bit up. As you can see, now we have this perfect line going from 0, going up, and then a little bit over the value, that is 1. So you can play around with this to see how it looks for you, but I think that this will look very good. So compile and save, and now go to the event graph again, and then we can just duplicate this, so Ctrl C, Ctrl V. We can change the name to lean left, and then the same for here, so true into the play and reverse into the released. Now after this, we want to drag out our float to the alpha, and the update will go into the float, and then just duplicate that and do the same for here. And why are we using this float? Well, it is mostly because I want it to be smooth when you lean, because if you spam Q and E very fast, it will get a bit laggy and it won't look that great. So that's why we're using a float. You don't need to, but it will look 100 times better, so please do that. And then after this, I want to create 3 new variables, so 1, 2, 3, and the first one will be called default camera position, and then this will be a transform. So let's change it from a float to a transform, just like that. Then just compile and save. And then the second one will be called lean right, position, and it will also be a transform. And the last one will be called lean left position, and that will be a transform as well. So the default camera position, we can just drop this down, and default camera position is where the camera is at its default location. So just go into the viewport, click on your camera, and then you can see that the location of the camera is -10, 0 and 60, but these numbers may be different for you. So what I want you to do is to right click on the location and then copy, then go to the default camera position, go to location and paste. Now we have our default camera position in this variable, so it knows where the default camera position is when we have stopped leaning. But if your rotation or scale is different as well, I want you to copy that as well and paste it into the default camera position right here. But I only change the location because that is where my camera position is. And then we want to do kind of the same for the lean right position and lean left. So let's start with the lean right. Let's drop that down. And now we can change how much we want the character to lean. So I want the character to lean a bit like that and also go down like that. So what I will do is that I will rotate this like that, and then I will drag it down like that. And now as you can see, all of my values changed. And now I want this location and rotation to be in the lean right position, because the camera is leaning right. So then once you have set up your camera for the lean right, so you want to go to the location, you want to copy it, you want to go to the lean right position variable, and you want to paste the location. But if you only change the rotation when leaning, you don't need to do the location, but I think that changing the location as well is much better. And then I want to go to the camera again, go to the rotation, and as you can see, I changed the rotation, so let's just copy that as well. Go to the lean right position and then paste. So now we have our lean right position in here. So what we can do now is just to make you the default camera position again. Just like that. So now the camera is in the default position again, because we have already changed and set up the lean right position. So let's do the same, but for the lean left position. So let's do that same. So it is very similar, just do it the other way around. So instead of dragging that way, we want to drag it the other way, so it leans left. So lean left, and then just drag down this like that. And then do the same, so just go to the location, want to copy, want to lean left position, want to paste the location, and then the same for the rotation, so copy, lean left position to paste, and then compile and save. Then we want to make sure that the camera position is at its default. So now we have set up the default camera position, the lean right position, and the lean left position. So what we do now is to add the default camera position, so drag that out, get, and then we want to also drag out lean right, like that. And then we want to drag out of the alpha and get a lerp transform. And the default camera position will be in the A value, and the lean right position will be in the B value. So then out of the return value, we want to set relative transform, and that will be the first person camera. So the target is the first person camera, like that. And then U will go into the float, like that. So now the lean right is all done. So let's do the same, but for the lean left. So we can just copy U, U, and U. Let's just duplicate that. And then want to drag out the default camera position. Drag that into the A of the lerp. And the lean left will go into the B of the lerp. And the alpha will go into the alpha of the lerp. And then U will go into the float. Just like this. So now we are all done with the code, and it should all be working. So compile and save. And let's try it out. You can see if we click on the E key, we lean right, and on the Q, we lean left. But as you can see, the leaning isn't really that much, and if you want to change the intensity of the leaning, you can simply do that just by going into the lean right position or the lean left and change this value right here. So let's say about 20, and the same here, but minus 20. Compile and save. Let's try that out now. As you can see, my character leans much more. So yeah, that was a very simple and easy tutorial on how to get leaning. So yeah, thank you for watching, and make sure to join the Discord, link in the description. We have a big community over there, and I love you all that supports it and join. And we also have a bunch of giveaways on there and all that stuff, so please join. And also make sure to visit my game mode account, also the link in the description, if you want to buy realistic VHS effects and also help support my channel. So thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one.